let me get into the Eagles here a little bit. Merrill Reese got in trouble on my program when he said that there was going to be a trade between the Buffalo Bills and the Eagles, and it looks like it's intimate. And all of a sudden, he started getting hammered. He even called me, and I was like, "Hey, man, I asked you the question. You're the one that said that there was a deal on the table here. Let me ask you, why did that relationship fall apart, Howard, between Ertz? And I get the injuries. I get it. Is it truly over just money on what ended up falling apart there at the end?"
Well, they got another tight end in Dallas Goedert, who's going to be the number one guy. I think I love Zach Ertz. I love what he brought to the locker room. I love what he brought to the field. But he's been injured the last 2 years, and he's making a lot of money. And the Eagles tried hard, and I assume Zach's agent put it out there that there was all these trades. I know Buffalo really didn't. There really wasn't any talk. I mean, there's the normal. General managers talk to general managers and names come up. But there wasn't any serious talk. And the problem this year with trading Zach Ertz, he makes $9 million a year. And the cap went down. That's a lot of money to pay a backup tight end. Buffalo's got a tight end. And I don't know that Zach Ertz could be a starter. And especially coming off of two straight seasons with injuries. Love the guy. Love what he did here. But it's just, that's what football is. You can't beat, and Zach's not old. He's only 30 years old. But you can't beat that part of football. When you start to get older and you start to have injuries, and now it was a bad year to try to fit in $9 million for any other team. If they got a sixth-round draft pick, it would be highway robbery, and that would be great for the Eagles if they got a sixth. But I don't know. Because if a team trades for him, okay, you can redo his contract, but then you're going to have to guarantee him money next year. I don't think any team wants to do that at this point. I think what the Eagles are waiting for is possibly somebody to get hurt in camp and another team be desperate for a tight end, and then maybe you can get something for him. But the problem, again, and you're waiting for that. I'm not so sure Zach Ertz is going to report to camp because I just don't think there's any way he's going to be here this year. If he doesn't report, he gets fined. But then if he goes somewhere else, the other team's not going to charge him the fines, not going to assess the fines for him. So there's nothing close. And if it was, he would have been traded and they would have taken something for him. So I don't think it got stale. I think it's fact of the business of football. And I think that's what it comes down to. Zach loves the area. His family moved here. I get all that. But there's times you have to move on. I would not be shocked if after all this happens, I wouldn't be shocked at all if the Eagles eventually just say, all right, we're going to have to release you and go where you want. And ends up in Indianapolis with Carson Wentz. That wouldn't shock me a little bit. Have to redo his contract, obviously, but he and Wentz are really, really tight and they really worked well together. So that wouldn't shock me if that happens in the end, but it's not going to be with a trade. It would have to be with a release and then the other team sign him. At least that's the way, unless, again, some other team comes up with an injury.
Howard, Merrill Reese also said this in his 50 years covering the team. He said that he has not seen a more electric guy on the football field. Now, again, you and I know this. It's helmets and shorts, dude. I mean, let's not get over our skis here a little bit. But he is just absolutely taken by Devonta Smith and what it looks like he could become in this league. Now, my big criticism on this pick here is if you're going to take a wideout, man, you need to have the signal caller that can get him the ball. I mean, I don't care what that wideout is. If you don't have the guy that can get him the ball and he's an accurate guy, I mean, can the receiver help the quarterback? Yeah, but I always thought Montana helped Rice more so than the other way. Remember, Montana won that first Super Bowl, and there was no Jerry Rice on that 49ers team. There was Freddie Solomon and Henry Cooper and them dudes. Montana helped that progression of that guy and that player and Jerry Rice. How do you see this thing here? Because there's a lot of hype around Devonta Smith. Are you as high on him?
Well, let me just address one of the things you said. I think Montana is the GOAT. You can take Tom Brady in today's game, and you can give me Tom Brady all you want because there's 2 Super Bowls he didn't win. Atlanta lost one and Seattle lost one. So and he played in a division, the worst division in football. So they always got a bye every year. So the reality is that's one thing. All right. So I addressed the Montana, but that's not what you get. I think Devonta Smith will be really exciting. Lightning. Boy, I watch him, without a uniform on and just shorts. His legs are toothpicks. Guy so tiny, but he's fast. He's Deshaun Jackson, speed-wise. Although Deshaun was great, but Deshaun got hurt later in his career. For 3 years, I think Devonta Smith is going to be a really, really exciting player. But you got to worry about a guy that small. And people say, oh, he can gain weight. Guys like that, a lot of times just don't gain weight. Deshaun Jackson never gained weight. So I think he's going to be really exciting. But you're right about the quarterback. And the quarterback's got to make good throws. He's got to make good reads. And if the other doubles him and they force, and I don't know about Jalen Hurts, and I don't think the Eagles know about Jalen Hurts. He's got to be able to read and get to his second and third progression, especially if they double Devonta Smith. So we'll see how that all works out. But Devonta Smith will be good. I mean, Merrill gets carried away sometimes. I love his enthusiasm, and I love what he says a lot of times. And he's enthusiastic and energetic. And yeah, we didn't even see 7-on-7s and 11-on-11s with the Eagles because the players extorted the coaching staff for them to come in. None of that stuff, and only 3 weeks of camp. But we'll see in training camp when that starts, the end of July and in August. We'll see a lot of those things. But he will be exciting. I will say that, Dan. Devonta Smith will be exciting. The only question I have is how many years can he stay healthy, as small as he is? But they needed a wide receiver because I don't know about Jalen Reagor, and he better step up this year. So they have, and if the Eagles, I'll say this with the Eagles. I think if you have to look at the over-under, which is 6.5, I would take the over. They don't get on a plane the last 8 weeks of the season, which is an advantage. Based on last year, the schedule's weak. However, when they play the Jets, it's towards the end, and Wilson may have developed into a pretty good quarterback by the time they play the New York Jets. Washington's going to be tough. I think the Giants are always going to stink because of the New York Giants. So, and I think Daniel Jones is a fraud too. But that being aside, I think they can win 8 games. I do think they can win 8 games, but the offensive line has to stay healthy. They have, if they're healthy, Lane Johnson would go from right to left. Lane Johnson, Brandon Brooks, which both were hurt last year. Jason Kelsey, who played every game but was hurt a lot last year, but he is so tough and he's so good. And then you got some indecision on the left tackle between Mailata and the former first-round draft pick Dillard. So, but if they stay healthy on the side, I think they can be good. I don't think they're going to win double-digit games, even though they're 17. But it could be an interesting season, and we'll see how Nick Sirianni is. He's said he's ready. He's ready for Philadelphia. I'm telling you, Philadelphia, he'll win a game by 2 touchdowns, and some media person, I won't even say what I was going to, some media person will question a play call or a decision he made in the game. Hey, man, he just won by 2 touchdowns. Everybody makes mistakes. I saw Bill Belichick. You notice I said Belichick. Bill Belichick makes mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, even the best. And Andy Reid, I think Andy Reid's the best coach in the NFL right now. But regardless of that, everybody makes mistakes. So we'll see how it plays out. But you got to have players, and the players have to be able to give you everything that they've got. But Devonta Smith is not the guy that I would be concerned about. I want to see what the quarterback can do. He had basically 1.5 games that were good. Good part of 1.5 games. He played 4, and I want to see what he does this year. Now he'll have a full camp. He'll have better wide receivers, offensive wide receivers with Devonta Smith. His offensive line will be healthy. So we'll see what he can do. But it could be interesting. But the Washington Redskins, man, that defense is so good. And with Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's certainly, whether he plays 17 games or not is a question, but he's certainly better than what they had before. So we'll see. I mean, it's just everything's up in the air with the Eagles. But there'll be a lot of things to look at.
How about this, Howard? Finally, here with